welcome to Chatz, a television podcast, Season 12, PeaksChatz. My name is Magellan, and they like to lick. It's Alan.
Yum, yum, yum. My favorite ice cream is probably peanut butter. I was going to make a bit, but I decided to be, just peanut butter, right? It's cold peanut butter taken out of the fridge.
Yeah, I like that too, actually.
You do?
Pretty good stuff. I don't know. It just sounds good. I like warm peanut butter and room temperature and cool peanut butter. So what could go wrong with cold?
Well, really warm peanut butter gets kind of liquidy, which is not exciting, not cash money at all.
True.
But no, just a good cold peanut butter chunky ice cream. That's for me, baby.
Fun fact, I was actually eating some ice cream while the theme song was playing just now.
Really?
That's a true fact.
I forgot to Millie Rock during this one, so one of us has to do something during the theme song. Wait, what ice cream was it?
It's sort of a vanilla bean.
Just a raw vanilla bean?
Yeah, just a raw vanilla bean. It's from like a sushi place. It's like a light, cleanse the palate vanilla bean.
Oh, sure. Like you had a nice meal and now you want to reset your mouth.
Yeah.
A mouth resetter or a palate cleanser in normal words.
Oh, that's pretty good term. I should start using that.
Thank you.
We are not alone, though, this episode, Alan. We are joined by a special guest. The only problem with them is that they are perfect. It's Ryan from Scanline Media. Hi, Ryan.
Ow, 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 ow. That means hello.
In Bob Wolf voice, that means hello. Nice.
Oh, gee, am I on the podcast? Oh, I don't know. I guess yes.
We never talked about it specifically how weirdly organic that line is, and it's incredible. Oh, yeah. Ryan, I'm so excited that you're here. We've talked about Twin Peaks for almost as long as I've known you, in a way. We've podcasted together for years. Longtime fans of Chatz will know that Ryan and I, with our friend Katie, used to do a podcast called Fireside Friends, which was in part inspired by us talking about shows like Twin Peaks and stuff like that. And I'm just really happy to have you on to talk about one of our favorite shows and a great episode of it.
I'm really excited to be here. I have been listening since the PeaksChatz started, and I kept being like, I shouldn't guessed, and I would listen to an episode and I was like, no, I want to be on here. So here I am.
Yeah, we're excited to have you, and we're here this episode discussing season 2, episode 10, Dispute Between Brothers. It was directed by Tina Rathborn, written by Trisha Brock. It aired December 8th, 1990. Alan, what happened in Dispute Between Brothers?
Alan, what happened? I know I make that joke a lot, but it really means it today.
It's widely applicable.
In this episode, Leland is laid to rest, and Sarah Palmer tries to accept all that has happened to her family. Dr. Jacoby returns from Hawaii. Cooper prepares to leave Twin Peaks, and Mayor Milford objects to his brother's engagement to a younger woman. Also,
Ryan,
there's some Bobby stuff, Lucy stuff, a bunch of subplots. Ryan, tell us. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, fill us in. What's your whole deal with Twin Peaks? What's your deal with this episode in particular? Let the folks know.
Well, Twin Peaks, I think a lot of people, at least in our circles, I started watching it along with the Idle Thumbs podcast, Twin Peaks Rewatch. That's where, I think that was in 2014. I started watching it in earnest and just been hooked on Twin Peaks and David Lynch stuff ever since. This episode, I didn't really have a affinity for. I was more curious, as this being the first episode sans Leland plot, how it was gonna shake out. I feel like this part of the season is stuff that I barely remember, and am curious how it holds up, having seen the entire series. So that's mainly why I picked it.
Nice. Well, what's your initial thought? Does it hold up well?
I liked it more than I did when I first watched it, but that is with the expectation that these episodes are gonna be different. So
right.
And so, like, knowing where things go ahead of time, I feel like I'm primed to be like, all right, this is not going to be like David Lynch and Mark Frost's Twin Peaks. This is like going to be some funhouse mirror version of the show. But I do get to spend more time with these characters in this, like, on these sets and in this time frame. There's something comforting about that. So I'm kind of coming at it through that angle.
Alan, did you feel similarly to that?
Yeah, I think this episode situates itself like so. Ryan, you know, we've been, like I said, good friends for a while, and you've often said, or at least mentioned to me, that you are a season 2 fan, and you feel like this is where Twin Peaks sort of starts in your mind, or like the thing that you think about of Twin Peaks is in season 2. And I felt like this episode, even more so, felt like the end of a series and the start of another series.
Exactly. Yeah, for me, I think that argument for me, like, I think of Twin Peaks as, or at least I thought of in the past as season 1 being like the start of it, and that's where like the big like phenomenon was that first season. And then 2, we see a drop off in fandom as the show just crawls on. But I feel like the show finds its identity in those early season 2 episodes. If you asked me previously, you know, where this Twin Peaks season 2 ends, it ends with the end of the Leland plot. I think on this watch, I am trying to view Twin Peaks as a whole rather than separate parts, or at least this original series. I'm trying to view it as one thing and not trying to canonize episodes just because they're made by different people. I'm just trying to view it as a whole. And so watching this, it's like you notice the change, but it is still trying to progress and introduce new plot threads in a way that's like a writer's room trying to come up with things to put in the show, which I thought was like interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's like a season 2A of sorts.
Yeah, it really feels like an episode that is throwing a lot of different stuff at the wall to try to figure out exactly what the show even is anymore, because you've got conversations about Wyndham Earle happening, and you've got Cooper's in trouble, and also Jean Reno's hanging around, and there's who knows, tons of other stuff. Like, what's the core driving mystery cop show narrative? And I don't know, watching this episode, weirdly, like, I didn't like it and and it weirdly made me wish Twin Peaks was longer, actually, because it got me thinking about, like, okay, we've kind of passed the point where Twin Peaks did its sort of like self-contained miniseries run, almost, of like, this is a cohesive narrative that ends with Leland Palmer's death and it's done. And now we've entered into, this is could have been like a TV staple that went for however many years, like a decade or something like that. Like The Walking Dead is still on TV, you know, something like that. I don't know, but
it's like if Dexter season 3 jumped ahead to season 8,
right?
And they were like out of ideas by then.
Right, exactly. And you know, you see a lot of stuff happen in this episode where you're like, okay, I could see myself turning off the kind of like cinema part of my brain that wants that from Twin Peaks, and instead just have the TV part of my brain of like, okay, yeah, season 2 wasn't so great, but season 3 they did this really cool arc with this, and then season 5 is my favorite season of Twin Peaks. Like, there's another universe where that's the show, and I'm kind of seeing that happen in this episode.
Well, for me, like, watching these episodes again, for me, the end of like the the sort of like prestige Twin Peaks. Mm-hmm. That ended with the Maddie episode.
Right.
Like that episode for me was like watching that in isolation, that feels to me like the perfect emotional capstone to the series. Mm-hmm. The show could have ended then, and I feel like I would in some way be emotionally satisfied with it. Like that feels like an ending to me. And then the two episodes after feel like both like stretching a little bit because they don't have the next plot ready, and also just feel campy enough to where this doesn't feel as jarring to me. Because we get Leland Palmer Joker mode in 2 episodes, which just feels so out of line with the rest of the show.
Right.
And then last episode, we get all these fucking weird camera angles and just like, I don't know, the show already has felt campy with the Leland ending. That I'm just like, all right, I'm already in it.
Yeah, even in the investigation, it's been weird.
The quote unquote bad Twin Peaks has started even before Leland died. To me,
yeah,
it's
a great thesis, and I think that I'm coming into this as a podcaster, trying to find things that I like and I want to discuss in these episodes. Like we've talked a lot about how people aren't going to know that season 2 gets dumb, and it does, but that doesn't mean that this episode's going to be 5 minutes of us being like, this sucks anyways, bye. Like, we are going to have things to say about these dull plot lines. But last thing I'll say about the overall episode is another objective I've been trying to have in this rewatch of Twin Peaks is reframing, like you said, Ryan, the whole show in then thinking about the return, because not to get into it, obviously, but it's weird in some of the ways that late season 2 is weird even. It's not just like, and we talk about how it's good and it's Lynch, it's like full Lynch and full Frost all the way, but like it's still weird and has some like dumb parts, just like late season 2 does. And I think like understanding that all of Twin Peaks has had parts like that will make me appreciate the return a little bit more. Because watching it live, I was like, where's the cool stuff? And then when the cool stuff happens, you're like, oh, there's the cool stuff. So, all that is to say, I'm finding myself thinking about this episode and this arc that we're getting into.
Can we talk about the writer and director real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, new people, I think.
The director of this episode, I want y'all to guess what other episode they directed of this show.
That we've already seen?
Yes.
I actually looked this up earlier, so I'm going to recuse myself.
Magellan is disqualified, Alan.
Yeah.
Dwayne Dunham, the way this one was directed, is it? I don't know. I have no clue.
She directed the Laura Palmer funeral episode.
Oh my god.
What a shift.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I love this show.
Tina Rathburn, not Dwayne Dunham, excuse me. I was looking at the next episode.
Tina Rathburn, yeah. And then Trisha Brock, who is credited as the writer. Please guess one show that she's worked on. I'll give you a hint, it's a sitcom.
Whoa.
She's worked on a lot of things, by the way, but I think this is one thing that she has a lot of credits on.
I'm gonna say Just Shoot Me.
Good guess. Is it something modern, Ryan?
I'll just list the multiple things.
Sure.
She directed a few episodes of 30 Rock.
Whoa!
She directed a few episodes of The Walking Dead. Like, she is very much a TV director, but like the fact that she worked on 30 Rock is really funny to me.
Big time.
Episode.
It's so weird that Twin Peaks has like people who went on. I guess like when you're a writer in Hollywood, you can stay a writer in Hollywood, but it's just like people on this worked on Malcolm in the Middle and like 30 Rock and Blackish, and it's like, that's Twin Peaks, dude. Those can't be in the same era in my head. I refuse to accept that. Oh man, weird stuff. But speaking of time jumps, there is a time jump in the beginning of this episode. I was kind of thrown for a loop when it said 3 days later, because we've talked a little bit here and there about how every episode of Twin Peaks is generally it takes place over the course of a day. There are a couple where they like zoom in on an evening, or zoom in on like a chunk of time. But we got a full time jump here, and everybody has beards and everybody's older and they've had kids. No, I'm just kidding. 3 days is just enough time for a funeral to have been prepped and already taken care of. Basically, it's enough time for us to sit in the grief.
I want to know what happened. Okay. So we open on this scene, which is like I know there's a conversation between Leland and Sarah we'll get to, but it's a big get together. Like everybody is like here, like being there for Sarah.
Yeah.
But I want to know how this went down, because it's like everybody in the town, and did they explain that, like, how Leland died? Like, did they explain, like, hey, Leland killed and raped his daughter?
Right.
Like, what did they tell everyone?
Like, what was the conversation like? Because I feel like the response to the situation and the attempt that they're making to, I don't know.
Everyone is like weirdly calm.
Yeah, I don't know.
So calm and serene, and like
it has the tone. It has the tone. They're acting like Leland died of a heart attack or something. It's
exactly.
Like really strange.
I think that they didn't tell. I don't think that they told them everything. Because I can't imagine them being like, there was a dude in his body who left. And even like when Cooper explains it to Sarah, and she's like, he's still out there. And he's like, no, he's gone forever. Like, you don't know that, Cooper. Why are you even telling her that? I guess to comfort her and so she's not worried. But like, there's clearly like they can't be telling the people of Twin Peaks everything. There's no way.
But Cooper's clearly told Sarah Palmer, because he also says this.
Your husband fell victim to one of these long ago when he was innocent and trusting. Leland did not do these things, not the Leland that you knew.
So he's told her what the things are, and she's like, yeah, I love my husband. He was awesome. Yep, probably was a demon.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. Your husband was the Joker.
Right. And Cooper's like, oh, go ahead.
No, I said he put on the clown makeup and like did a howl.
And he was about to kill Donna.
He was about to kill Donna.
Yeah, he killed your daughter, your niece. But it wasn't him. And Cooper's like weirdly saying, and yeah, remember how he drugged you so you wouldn't be able to catch him?
Yes.
Weird.
Like, okay, Cooper, cool. And then he does this weird, I don't know, it's this extreme close-up on Sarah's face, and then this weirdly invasive moment where Cooper's like, I know it's hard to understand here, and he touches her forehead, and then moves his hand down and says, and here. And you don't see it, but he's touching her, like, chest, and it's like, Cooper, you are handling this in the most condescending, like, I don't know, making parentalist way possible. It really bothered me that, I don't know, because it gets at the heart of a problem I have with Twin Peaks, which is that Cooper is just like too good when, like, materially in the world he's not as good as we perceive him to be.
Yes.
And this was a moment where I was really let down by Dale Cooper, and the show was trying to paint it as some sort of magnanimous act.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't.
Get back to me in a little bit. Get back to me.
Get back to me in, I don't know, when we finishing season 3.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But I will say that Sarah Palmer, Grace Zabriskie, plays this moment really, really well. Her performance really landed with me.
Me too.
The ridiculousness of what was being said.
I think, like, in your notes, you mentioned that it felt flat, but that is partly just because, like, the lines are just her being like, I loved my husband. But, like, Grace Zabriskie brings it. It's not her fault that they're just like, you're just supposed to feel bad that your husband's dead.
And I'm sad she didn't get more to do. She's just like, she's now in the show like this estranged, wife mourning for her entire family, and she doesn't get more fucking scenes.
Yeah.
Do we see her again after this episode?
I don't remember her being in there a lot. She definitely comes back up in this season, but I don't remember her being in here a lot.
And there is, the music does some work here too. We're gonna talk a lot about the music, but Laura's theme kicks in obviously when they talk about how much she misses her daughter. And then we like pan over, like you're talking about like how community comes together.
Hold on. Can we talk about the music in this fucking episode?
Yeah, let's just talk about it.
The music in this, It drove me insane. I was distracted by the acting in this show because this episode layers multiple Twin Peaks songs in at once throughout the entire episode. It drove me insane. This whole scene, there's like this choral synth song playing, and then as it's transitioning between members of the community, it would drop in the classic Twin Peaks drum and hi-hat. It would drop in like different themes depending on the character. It's insane. I hate it so much. I don't understand why they did this. Why did they make the music like this? It just, oh my god.
I think it's like how much so many of the plot lines in this episode, it feels like they're throwing music at the wall. They're like, and then Hank's theme and Laura's theme and the hi-hat and some jazz.
And then it plays on top of each other. I'm like, why are we doing this?
I mean, again, similarly, like in my notes, why is there this new like old man rivalry plot introduced during Leland's fucking funeral? And literally Truman has to be like, remember where you are. Remember what's happening around you. There's a dead man's funeral. He's a bad man also. Why are you fighting about a girlfriend? What's wrong with you? Please be adults. Man. You're both like 80.
That whole plot was so frustrating. My favorite line out of it is Pete Martell is explaining the situation between these two guys. One of them's the mayor, one of them's like the newspaper editor. They're brothers. They're disputing title of the episode.
Bingo.
And Pete Martell goes,
Dougie's engaged to be married to a babe.
To a baby. It's like, cool. Thanks, Pete.
Yo, Pete in this episode was so good, though.
Always good. Never not good.
Yeah.
But like this moment just completely solidifies again things about Dale Cooper that suck, that make him complicit in the kind of like boys club patriarchy of this town, where they're standing around like, yeah, these two old guys, one of them's engaged to a babe. She's a teenager and he's 100. And they're all like, oh man, that's so funny. Cooper's like, I'm going to miss this place. Yeah, dude, you're going to miss this?
You're going to miss this?
I hope you're ready for this plot specifically to get better.
Yeah.
And by better, I mean stupid.
Do they do more? There's more with this
plot? There is way more to this plot.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Way more.
Way more, dude.
No,
thank you.
No, thanks.
Yeah, this, like I said, hints of dumb stuff. I want to talk more about.
I cannot wait for the spoiler segment in this fucking episode.
Oh my God.
Me too. I want to push the Cooper stuff to a little bit later. So let's just talk about a couple of like little subplots that get picked on in this episode.
Before we leave the funeral, I just want to quickly play the reintroduction of Dr. Jacoby. He's back.
Oh yeah,
Major.
You appear to be fully recovered from your recent setback.
Well, nothing beats the restorative powers of Hanalei Bay.
I just like the way he said Bay. Hanalei Bay.
I'm glad that clip demonstrated what the fuck I was talking about with the music.
Yeah, I like couldn't hear them speaking because the music was like, wow.
This song changed my life. And it's this fucking smushing together 4 tracks.
Man.
It's great.
On the music, the most annoyed I was with the music was when Truman is giving Cooper the Bookhouse Boys Boy Scout patch or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And which, something to think about, that this like secret boys club is associated with the Boy Scout. I don't know. Anyway, there's something to dig into. But and it's like the Twin Peaks main theme that's just playing so loud. and while Truman's giving him the fishing lure or the hook or whatever, I don't know. It's just like, do you get it? The beauty of this place.
Twin Peaks.
Leave me alone, music. Get out of here.
Let me live my life and let me enjoy my friend Nadine, who's
right.
Okay, so this plotline's amazing. I've been the defender of this plotline as much as I can be.
I've turned into the defender of this.
Thank you. You need it. It's so
plot
fun.
Slaps. It's dope.
Thank you, John. I'm glad we're all here finally. So, Big Ed decides that a smart and normal thing to do with your, I believe they said 36-year-old wife, is to enroll her in high school because she thinks she's a high schooler, even though it's 1990 and that's not when she went to high school.
And is it Doc Hayward who's there with him? Or
no, it's Jacoby.
Yeah, who's like,
Jacoby has
sense
to say, "Hey, I know what I'm talking about."
Yeah,
I'm Dr. Jacoby.
Oh my goodness,
it's me. That's his only role in this episode too. Is the funeral scene.
He doesn't say anything in that scene either.
Yeah, he just literally is there, so you go like, a medical professional okayed this. But like I was telling Ryan this, the high school principal goes, "Why did you think it was a normal idea to enroll your like 30-something-year-old wife in high school?" And he goes, and then we cut away for 10 minutes.
No, he literally says, "Oh, you got me there," and then it cuts away.
And they come back and she's just in high school. Like, all right, no, we're not going to answer that. Shut up. Like, you didn't even try to tell me why, like, oh, it's part of her therapy, or like, oh, like, we're not going to make a big deal. We're not going to actually enroll her. It's just going to be like for her happiness. It's like, no, just, we're going to do it. We're doing it. It's happening. And so she's really excited. She wants to join the cheerleading team. And there's this incredible scene that feels like it's out of a 90s, like, drug PSA or something, where she's doing, like, practice lifts with the cheerleaders. And they ask her to do a throw, and she's like, "All right, I'm gonna throw you." And the guy's like, "Yeah, right." And she's very powerful, and she throws him across the entire stadium into some boys. It's incredible. She's the bionic woman.
I have a clip of the corkscrew moment.
Okay,
just real
go
quick.
ahead. Yep.
I'm gonna throw you.
Yeah, sure you are.
Corkscrew!
Screaming fades out, but then goes back. The sound design on that whole, like, the 80-yard lines, that the moment where you see Nadine whip around and smile, and it's like the twinkling chime sound effect. There's just something beautifully cartoonish about the way that whole scene sounds.
Yeah, can we talk about the ADR? Because this drove me crazy. I watched it like 15 times. Before he throws him, there's a shot of him behind her about to throw her, but it's like, she's coming up to him, but they're ADRing it because she's like, "I'm gonna throw you." He's like, "No, whatever." But then the shot like progresses, and then as she's talking, it reverses. That's to like simulate move, like she's speaking while she's about to throw him. This drove me crazy.
Yeah.
I watched it like 10 times to be like, what is happening here? Why did they do this?
Yeah, there's a lot of like kind of sloppy continuity moments in this episode or like shots that last too long, or I don't know. The editing was not good on this one.
That being said, so I'm watching this on the Blu-rays. Alan is too.
Hell yeah.
With the Blu-rays, there are certain effect shots that are low quality, either because they would have to like redo special effect shots, or they couldn't find like the source film or whatever. A big example of this was the like when they were recapping the Laura Palmer case, the like long panning shot across the donut counter.
Yeah.
That was all in VHS quality, which was a bummer. But so you have a lot of moments like that. And I popped the fuck off when it went to this scene, and a large majority of it was in HD.
Yeah.
I went off. The only thing that was not in HD was the shot I was just talking about, where it was like a weird reverse thing where they reversed the shot, and which made it stand out even more.
It's so good because like there are also on the Blu-ray, you can play it with the loglit intros, which I always watch, and recaps of the previous episode, which are nice. And I watch the recaps because those are all, even though it's the same episode you have on Blu-ray quality, they still give you it in VHS quality, and like the coloring is different, and all of the like the frame rate's off. It's so interesting. It like looks like a different show sometimes. Like the sheriff's office is green on VHS for some reason. It doesn't have the like muted brown tone at all. I love watching the back and forth, but yeah. Also, like when the whole giant scene, the first one, mostly VHS, and it's like, damn, they could have. Oh, I was bummed to see that.
The one giant thing I remember being in VHS was when he like throws the orb at Cooper,
yes,
and like the orb dissolves in the Cooper, which also honestly looked dope in VHS.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Nadine is cheerleading. Does anything else even happen with Nadine in this episode, or is that it?
There's also the thing. Wait, sorry. Before we move off the cheerleading thing, sure. I understand that we already know this character, and that's why they're doing it. But the fact that the principal is part of cheerleading tryouts is a red flag.
Little sus,
to me.
slightly sus.
It's sus, sus. The other thing that Nadine does in this episode is at the funeral, she's really preoccupied with her shiny shoes and if people can see her underpants in them. I didn't really know what to make of that, but that was the other thing.
I think the best answer I can give you, because I did come up with a bunch of answers for like stuff I knew we were gonna say is dumb, like the empty Went stuff. But for this, I think like she is just really living out the life of a teenager, something a teenager would be worried about.
Yeah.
And that would mean that she's still coming to terms with her like sexual existence, like the fact that she is a woman now, and she's like reconciling that in the brain with the brain of a 16-year-old. So I think that's really what that is. But also just that the fact that Ed has like you can watch Ed throughout these episodes get more and more committed to the bit until the point now where he's like, yes, Nadine, you're going to join. I'll be right there. You're going to be on the cheerleading team. And like 3 episodes ago, he was like, what? Necking. There are also some teen plots that have to do with Bobby and Shelley. Bobby continues to suck more and more and more. He has basically completely replaced Leo as Shelley's abusive boyfriend, but in a, like, I guess less not physically violent way. He just, I don't know. This is like it's a really unhealthy, toxic relationship where he's like, you know, I'm going to get a job and it's going to be great and you don't have to do anything. And she's like, I just want to go outside. I don't want to like take care of Leo anymore. And you're telling me you're going to get a job or whatever. He's like, yeah, but babe, we'll be rich. Come on and make out with me. And anyways, I'm going to go back to school and get a job with fucking Ben Horn now. I hate Bobby. I always loved Bobby and now I want to beat him up.
Yeah. And it sucks that she's like, I want to go out on a date. Will you take me out? And he says no. And then he goes and he takes Audrey Horne to get ice cream or whatever.
He's a crap. Come on,
man.
I like the Bobby and Audrey stuff.
I think that scene is really good. It was one of the better ones of the episode.
Giving Audrey something to do that isn't fucking being tortured or fawning over Cooper is great.
Yes.
Please give us more of that.
And it results in my favorite Audrey Horne line. I don't know if ever, but of late. And it's not I like to lick, which is stupid. Not a fan of I like to lick. No, but I am a fan of
school numbs my buns. What about you?
School numbs my buns.
What is the attendance policy of the school?
Nobody ever goes to school in Twin Peaks. Nobody ever goes. Donna's out late. James is gone. He's just quit school. Bobby has a job now, and I mean, whatever. Like, and Audrey goes and does crime stuff when she feels like it. Yeah, I was gonna remark that I also like the Audrey and Bobby stuff because, like, we talk a lot on Chatz about the whole like you can mix and match character pairings and make a lot of interesting interactions, and we've literally never seen Bobby and Audrey speak to each other this much. It's like. Yeah. Kind of cool to be like, oh, they do have their own, like, it passes our test, right? It has a unique and interesting interaction that no one else would have. But Bobby is, like, clearly at least engaging with her, and she's trying to be nice to him. I think she wants something from him. I think she's playing him for a fool or something, like, to get at her dad, maybe. That was my impression of her, like, kind of being nice to him here.
I think she's just a pot stirrer. She's just like, okay. Yeah, what'll happen if you get in there? Well,
right.
Why not?
Maybe. But he tries to get a job with Ben Horn. This is the best way to get a job. Screw Indeed.com and screw job boards or whatever. You just send them an incriminating tape and be like, listen to it. And they're like, I don't want to listen to it. Don't give it to me. And you're like, no, wait. This plan didn't work the way I wanted to. You have to listen to the tape and then give me a job and I'll have money. My only note on this stuff was that Bobby's suit makes him look really good here. He was like talking about what tie should I wear, and I was like, dog, you already look great. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah. Well, it's Leo's suit.
Oh, sorry, it is Leo's suit. Yes. And that's why he looks great, because Leo... No, I'm just kidding. Leo's the best looking guy on Twin Peaks. Whatever happened to James?
There is a scene There's a scene in the Leland like funeral thing where Donna's like, "Hey, Big Ed, James is gone," and Big Ed's like, "Ah, he'll come back.
He'll come back.
It'll be fine."
He does this like every month. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think we're gonna get James next episode. But
Ed's like, I got my own shit to worry about right now.
Yeah.
The James plot is the one I remember the least, and I'm so excited.
Same.
I oddly remember the James plot pretty well.
I remember the end of it, but like nothing.
Yeah, I remember
else.
the end of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they did a whole half season of it. That's baffling. Geez Louise. So last short plot, Empty Wentz. We kind of like realize that the show doesn't have the time or energy to handle Vivian and Norma's relationship. And so once again, Majan, like you said last time, Vivian is just like, here is the thing you need to know. Norma, go. And it's like she's just giving the actress playing Norma, like, here's plot development for you. I'm just going to tell you what you need to have.
Last episode, we were going to talk about Empty Wentz in the spoiler zone and be like, oh, you know, it's Norma's mom, and isn't it kind of weird that she's at dinner with everybody being like, the fish is a little dry or whatever, and that's like them hinting it to you. I did not realize that they revealed it
so soon
this quickly, and it honestly, this scene read like the spark notes of the plot, because we don't even see the moment where Norma gets the review. It's like in the same scene that we learned there was a bad review, she's like, oh, this review is so bad. And then the mom was like, by the way, I wrote it. And the audience is left to say, okay, yeah. And then the characters explain their feelings. And we're like, yeah, no, I know that's how that makes sense. I could have predicted this. And the show's like, okay, and we did it. That was a plot. We did a plot. Do you like it?
Did you have fun? Did you like it?
Like, what am I supposed to take from that? Norma doesn't like her mom. She doesn't like her mom from the moment her mom shows up. And her mom is a restaurant critic that gives her a bad review, which is a metaphor for the fact that her mom is critical of her.
Yeah, you got it.
I did like Norma standing up for herself for once in this fucking show.
Me too. Yeah,
that's true.
I love engaging with the or just peeking at the Twin Peaks.
But God forbid she do it to a man on this show.
No. That's illegal. You can't do that. No, I was gonna say I occasionally peek into the Twin Peaks subreddit because, as with most like TV show subreddits, people on there have like really bad brainworms where they still, because they watched The Return once, they're like, is this thing in season 1 a hint of what was coming in season 3? And I don't want to specify any more than that, but like. There was a thread on there where someone was like, wait, how does Empty Wentz fit into the overall storyline? And someone was like, dog, it doesn't. It just doesn't. The main comment was like, it's self-contained. No. Not every plot has to be part of the bigger thing. It's just a normal plot line because Norma's a character on the show. That's it.
Right.
They were like, no, but it has to mean something, right? It's like, dog, just watch Lost or something. I don't know. Like,
right. Well, that kind of speaks to what I was saying at the beginning of this, where in the version of Twin Peaks where it's like this sort of weird semi-soap opera that goes for a decade or whatever, the Empty Wentz thing, nobody's going to be out there like, how does it tie into the mythos? But Twin Peaks is kind of, it was this like mini series that continued and it was like starting to become this longer thing, but didn't. And so people are like, okay, now I have to make all of it fit the mold of the show that it was and went beyond. And that's where you get stuff like that, where it's like Empty Wentz. Wait a minute. Wenty M's Zemty. Oh, okay.
I'm now picturing Stephen A. Smith yelling about Empty Wentz.
Empty Wentz. Now, Skip, you know I love the Empty Wentz plot in season 2. The one piece of trivia I had about the Empty Wentz stuff was on the Blu-rays, I have the subtitles on because it helps me, enjoy the show, appreciate the dialogue and whatnot. When she says, she goes like, Empty Wentz, je m'appelle Empty Wentz or something. Like she speaks a little bit of French. For the whole thing, they wrote speaking French. And I was like... The whole line, the whole bit. And I was like, is MTN supposed to be a French name pun? And I'm missing that? Because like M, like, you know, Ajay and M Solitaire. I'm like, and then I realized I was the subreddit guy, and I was like, I gotta get out. I gotta go.
Oopsie.
Speaking French. Yeah, that's literally it. And then Ernie, and this ties back into the Ernie and Hank stuff. They're coming up with some sneaky plans. Can somebody summarize this for me? Because I really tuned out during the whole Jean Reno.
Yeah.
Hank
So there's a couple things going on here. So Hank knew Ernie in prison. We know that already. Ernie is now married to Norma's mom, who is also Empty Wentz, but that's self-contained.
Oh.
And Hank and Ernie was, you know, this like expert money laundering guy. So Hank is trying to get him to steal money.
Vivian's money.
And he's like, no, I can't steal Vivian's money. And then Hank's like, okay, but meet my French friend, Jacques Renault. Hey, Jacques Renault, this guy's good at stealing money. And then Jean Renault, sorry.
Jean Renault.
And then Jean Renault's like, oh yeah, you're good at stealing money. And
Candy's
Ernie's
dandy,
like,
baby.
Ernie's like, shut up, Candy. you're a mess.
I know. It is though.
Hot damn, that bite. Anyway,
Bite the bullet, baby.
let me add a line to this repertoire.
I want him crucified.
I want him crucified. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, then Jean meets Ernie, and Ernie's like, yeah, I'll embezzle lots of money for you, Mr. Guy. So I guess they're gonna do stuff with that.
Yeah,
but that's
and then Jean like brings like a briefcase of cocaine, and the cocaine looks like they bought like 2 pounds of flour from Giant. It's like, why is there so much?
It's a lot of cocaine. They're gonna plant it in Cooper's car.
Right.
Yeah, and that goes back to the Cooper plot, which we haven't talked about yet.
Right.
Bingo. That's the best segue I've ever done, and remarking upon it makes it worse. So Cooper, the original center of the show. Now we're talking about him 45 minutes into our discussion. Can you believe it? Is the show even about him anymore? He's in trouble. He is literally, he's on a series finale. He's like, well, the Laura Palmer murder mystery was really crazy and scary, but I'm glad I got to know all these beautiful people. Now I just need to go. I'm 1 minute from retirement. Let me go fishing with my best friend, Major Briggs. Oh! And
he literally like says goodbye to every single person in the sheriff's office on his way out.
Like I said,
and he's like Lucy, I don't know.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Invite me to whatever wedding you have with whichever one of your guys you like the most.
Whatever the
like,
fuck
what the hell, Cooper? Come on.
Hawk, you're a token Native American character. May the wind be on your back. Thanks, Hawk. That's a normal thing to say.
Yeah, that sucked.
Truman, I've always secretly loved you and want to marry you.
Oh. Okay, I do like the line that Cooper says, though, when it's like, if I'm ever lost, I hope they send you to find me.
Yeah. It's good.
Which comes back. This comes back.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Yeah.
Right.
Hawk, underappreciated character, honestly.
Love a good Hawk.
Brian, you're caught up now. Did you appreciate the "I have some of my best friends are white" comment?
Oh my god,
top tier! I guarantee you that wasn't in the script.
Entire scene. I had to pause it and just yell at my TV because I forgot that Lucy had a sister.
Right,
she has a whole sister,
and she's super racist.
Yeah, and I don't think comes back either.
No, they like used her for like 3 scenes, and they're like, "Oh no, this isn't working." Bye.
We got character bloat here. So yeah, the FBI come with a like cartoon Canadian Mountie FBI person, and they're like, "Cooper, you're suspended immediately without pay." And he's like, "Okay, I knew this was happening."
You can tell he's not from Twin Peaks because he's black.
Right. Right, we've made that. I've commented. The only like last time we saw a black person on the show was like in Hank's trial or whatever, and it's like that guy's not ever. He's not a character.
Yeah, it's like the there's like a teacher that yells at Bobby in the pilot.
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
we found all of them. We found all 3 black people in Twin Peaks. Great, man. So go ahead.
I'm sorry. The fact that he's here to like threaten Cooper's authority, I don't know. There's something about that archetype that rubs me the wrong way, but
yeah, I feel that.
It's handled a little weirdly, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. Where, like I said, it feels like they're just closing up on Cooper's arc, and even Audrey's like, "Are you going home?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going fishing, and then we'll see where I go from there. Maybe I'll buy property. Maybe I'll go back to wherever I'm from." And he talks to
I was just gonna say there are kind of 2 weird implications that I took from a couple scenes involving Cooper. Just one of them with his conversation with Audrey. Audrey's like, "Hey, you're leaving? But what about us?" And Cooper reasserts, I don't get involved with, and he's starting to say like, I don't get involved with people in cases. And she's like, I know, I'm a teenager. And he's like, well, yeah, but also this other thing.
You're also involved in the case.
Seems to imply that Cooper is basically saying like, oh, if you were just a teenager, that would be fine. Like that's kind of what I took from that a little bit. And then the other weird implication when Cooper's talking to this internal affairs guy who's Cooper thinks he's just going to get a slap on the wrist for crossing the border to save Audrey from One-Eyed Jacks. And he's like, okay, so what is it? This is a misfeasance thing? Like I did the right thing, but didn't follow the proper rules? Sure, I was expecting that. Which seems to imply that Cooper, I don't know, that he's done this before or that he's used to kind of bending the rules and doing things his way like this. And neither of those really set super well with me, I think.
Well, I think that, again, I had mentioned before finishing the episode that, like, this is the show earnestly trying to like reconcile how weird that episode in season 1 was. Was that even that was in season 2, actually?
That was season 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they go twice. One is related to the Palmer case, and one is just getting Audrey out.
And it's the one that got Audrey out that got him in trouble.
Right. Yeah, because like 3 people die in that outing.
Yeah, where fucking Truman ball gags a guy and like they shoot dudes, and they're playing a video game.
Well, the FBI doesn't even know that 3 people died because they were like 2 people died here, and Cooper's like, nah, there's the one that Hawk killed too.
No, yeah, the guy that got a throwing knife is dead. Yeah, and it felt like they were genuinely trying to do that. And he's like, well, but sometimes you have to do things as part of your duty. And they're like, no, that's not how being an FBI agent works. You follow your job and everything else comes to the side. I just felt like Cooper was so resigned to this. He's just like, all right, yeah, this is going to happen. I'm going to get fired. I understand. And it's like, what? Cooper is suddenly like so beholden to the FBI. I guess he's always been like upholding the morals of the FBI. That's what he tells Audrey, at least. But it kind of feels performative.
And he holds that until there's a drug charge too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I knew I was going to get in trouble for maybe doing this thing that I, overstepped my bounds on. But wait, cocaine? What is this about cocaine?
I wouldn't.
I don't do cocaine.
Though. Yeah.
And the DEA is going to be brought in. He has 24 hours to assemble a defense. And then I guess that's pretty much where that plot is right now. So Cooper's,
and we learn that the guy
disarmed.
who is the Mountie is Jean Reno's guy. Because
Jean Reno just controls every Canadian. There's no good Canadian on Twin Peaks.
And Truman sticks up for his man. I mean, the Truman Cooper shippers were feasting this episode.
It's me.
with Truman being like, I'll stand. Cooper's a good guy. He's my favorite cop in the whole wide world. I made him one of my boys, one of my Bookhouse boys. Did you see Truman even gave him the little Bookhouse boy symbol when he came into the room?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I gave him the little like, okay.
And also a skunk thing for fishing.
Yeah. He's my boyfriend, and I won't give you any evidence against him. You'll have to get a warrant for that.
The scene where he gives him the green skunk bait is so fucking gay, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, big
it's
time.
dripping in queer subtext. It's just like,
oh yeah,
this matters so much to me. They're gonna want to think about is sex, and you're gonna give this to them, and they're gonna chill out, and you're gonna get all the fish you want because you deserve it, Cooper. It's like, I got this just for you. It's very special, and I got it for you, Cooper. You're my one real friend, and you mean a lot to me. And it's like, just fucking kiss. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Oh God, get this liberal agenda out of my shit. No,
the only moment in this episode that rivals that in sexual tension is when Andy is trying to big time Dick Tremaine by being a better guy than him, and he like climbs the ladder and is talking about his, as he puts it later. Oh, what does he say to Hawk? He says this:
Hawk, I know Lucy, and I know what to get her: morals and manly behavior.
So he's doing his morals and manly behavior, and Lucy is just there like, going in for the kiss the whole time.
She's gonna fall off the ladder to kiss Andy, which I would do.
Very funny stuff.
Before we talk about the Lucy, Andy, Dick stuff, the Cooper plot does conclude the episode. Actually, do you want to do Andy, Lucy, Dick first, and then just talk about the last scene? I think that's probably the best way to pace this, honestly.
Let's do that.
Yeah, so let's pivot for just a moment. We'll put Cooper on pause. And so Andy and Lucy continue to have their whole thing about like who's the baby daddy, and Lucy is like fixing some light bulbs in the sheriff's department, and then Dick Tremaine pops in the room, remembering that he's on this show, I guess. Mm-hmm. And he says he wants something more important than himself to care for, and he looks forward to finally being a father. And the sheer cartoon comedy of him being like, and I really want to make sure somebody else is the most important thing in my life, as Lucy's in front of him falling off the ladder, and he's looking away, thinking about himself and how happy he is that he's finally developed empathy.
Right. He's basically like, I want a kid so I can be more interesting. That's what he says.
I've seen it. I've seen people do it before, or I've seen people like think like that before. It's pretty bad.
And then doesn't he drop that he's like mentoring a kid or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like some wonderful homeless boy or something like that. Yeah. It's a lot. And then Andy comes in and is like, I'm the third part of this group, and I think that we shouldn't fight each other. Instead, we should be friends. Sound good? And then they both have some good ladder comedy where they're going up and down like Dick is trying to follow Lucy up and down the ladder just so she looks at him, but she won't look at him. And then Andy's just like, I'm here too, guys. She tries to kiss him, and it's very sweet. I love these friends. I honestly prefer Andy trying to reach out like this instead of like, we're just going to fight for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
You know, because that would just get annoying really fast.
Well, and then Hawk is like, "What's
wrong with you, Andy? You weird."
Well, and it's kind of funny because he's like seemingly making this like movement towards a truce, but he's actually just initiating this arms race of decency that I think is going to be where we go from here.
Yeah, it's a different type of masculinity. This like nice guy masculinity. But then, we just have the final scene of the episode, which I really liked, and I think hints at a Twin Peaks that we're going to get that I really love, which is weird magic lore Twin Peaks, magic special world behind the scenes of the woods. So Cooper and Briggs are getting ready for their fun.
Briggs, by the way, has no knowledge that his son is secretly caretaking an adult man.
Absolutely no clue. He's like, son, what are you doing? He's like, well, that's classified, father. He just throws it back at him. It's like, all right, son, that's fair. I'm gonna go hang out with this FBI agent in the woods, and we're gonna go fishing. They get ready to go fishing. Cooper goes to take a pee, and then boop, Briggs get whisked away into X-Files to go be Scully's dad on the X-Files. But not before he tells him that there is a place called the White Lodge that they need to think about. And he says something about the White Lodge, and you're like, hinting at things now, finally.
The way that Cooper says he has to pee is like the most that nerdy math kid in high school. He's just like, just give me a minute. I'm excited to hear this White Lodge. Let me just go take my journey into the woods. I'm gonna go take a piss.
Take a piss.
I'm gonna go take a journey. I'm like, just go to the bathroom, Cooper.
Yeah.
You don't have to say all this.
Yeah, you would have been there and back in the time it took you to say everything. I like that he manages to zip himself so fast. Like the light thing happens while he's still urinating, and then he comes back in like a millisecond, and I'm like, did you? How did you do that? Briggs is gone, y'all. We're not going to hear about the White Lodge right now. It's a bummer. I like Briggs. I just started to love him. Bye, Briggs. But I remember this plot being sick as hell. It's legitimately one of my favorite parts of season 2. Maybe I will regret my words and deeds. Who's to say? Great. That's what I have. Are there any scenes or moments in this episode that anybody else wanted to talk about?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Two things. One, so I don't think we made it clear. Cooper, they're trying to plant cocaine on Cooper.
Yes.
And then just Sylvie's they're trying to get him away from the FBI and then presumably off him. That's what's happening there. That's why they had a comically amount of cocaine in that scene. 2, when Audrey is talking to Cooper, she's like, when I get older, you'll see.
Yeah.
And Cooper's like, yeah, I guess I'll see. I'm like, no, what's happening? It's bad. It's so bad.
Not a fan. The only scene that we didn't really talk about that I don't want to talk about, but just wanted to mention that it happened was like Catherine talked to Truman, I guess.
Oh, sure. Also, Josie's back.
Oh, yeah, and Josie came back.
That was like
a
huge monologue.
Yeah, it was this like long conversation where Catherine is basically just lying to Sheriff Truman about where she's been, and we know she's lying, so I don't really see the value in the scene at all. But
that scene just read like, hey, Piper Laurie is a respected actor. We have to give her a scene.
Yeah,
right.
That isn't this racist caricature.
Right. The only thing I really liked about it was the way that she said,
"What made you come back?"
I ran out of tuna fish.
That's it. That's all.
It ends the
That's all I
scene
took
too.
from that. Yeah.
She ran out of tuna fish. We're going to have to talk about it in the spoiler zone for 3 hours. Anyways, if that's what we got for Dispute Between Brothers, I think that we can take it to some plugs. Wait, what are we watching next time?
Well, this is the first of 2 episodes in the week. So
yes, sorry. On Wednesday? This one's Wednesday or this one's Sunday?
This one's Sunday.
On Wednesday, y'all will hear us talking about Masked Ball with another guest. So I'm hoping that you are excited for that. If you thought the show couldn't get stupider. Anyways, Ryan, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at BlueistRose430 on Twitter.
Excellent. Ryan is also on a wonderful podcast called Bald Gun Guy, which is a Hitman playthrough podcast that you host with our friend Six and our friend Ty.
We just got done with Hitman 1, so
there you go.
Perfect place to jump on if you're new to Hitman, or I don't prefer Hitman 2, and I guess. But yeah, we play a level of Hitman every month and talk about it, and it's super fun.
Nice.
And I've been enjoying it. So
beautiful. And I'll also give you the opportunity, if you would like, Ryan, to give a chatsum for this week, something you want to recommend for the folks that's not related to what you work on.
Sure. That's not related to the show.
I mean, it could be related to the ephemera of Twin Peaks if you think that's germane. Sure.
I will. Okay, so we're getting into the turn your brain off and enjoy a really stupid show phase of Twin Peaks. So in light of that, I wanted to plug, let me actually bring up the title and author's name just to get it right. I have been reading Laura's Ghost, Women Speak About Twin Peaks by Courtney Stallings. It is a book all about interviewing women who worked on the show, women's fans of Twin Peaks who are women, just like kind of getting just a survey of people who worked on and are fans of Twin Peaks and their perspective on the show, especially as we delve into or we're going to go into sort of the Fire Walk with Me, and the more explicit sexual abuse angle of the show.
Yeah.
I think I'm reading that book. I'm like a fourth through it, and it's been great so far. And just the perspective of just women whose lives were touched by Twin Peaks in many different ways has been really good. And I have a feeling that you would want to read it before the podcast covers Fire Walk with Me. So
yeah. I agree. Laura's goes to him. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I want to say also that it most of all of the interviews were conducted post season 3. I haven't really run into any spoiler stuff really at all. But it's just throwing that out there if you're totally averse to season 3 stuff.
Yes.
But I haven't really seen any like big spoiler mentions.
Yeah, I picked up my copy recently as well, and Magellan did too. That's Laura's Goes to Women Speak About Twin Peaks by Courtney Stallings. And as Ryan said, you should probably read it. I don't know. Before we talk about Fire Walk with Me, I recommend you read it.
Read it.
Yeah, you'll be cool if you read it. Cool. Magellan, let's take it to our plug zone. Can I do it this time?
Yeah.
Sweet. If you would like to email us questions, comments, concerns, please hit up chatspod@gmail.com. That is the location to send us emails. We have a Twitter @chatspod, CHATZPOD is always how you spell our podcast's name. We have a community-run subreddit at r/chatspod where they are re-watching old Chatz episode shows and then discussing the podcast on the threads. And we're partway through season 2 and we just watched like the best episode of season 2, which is called Zuko Alone. And it's fun to go back and listen to old Chatz stuff with them. Yeah. If you like Chatz and you want to support us, you have a couple ways to do that. You can rate us on your podcast platform of choice, subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. We're on all of them. And dang it, we're trying to get the word out there. So leave us a review if you like us. And if you'd like to support us financially, we have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/chatspod, where you can back us financially and get a lot of bonus content like the Chatz Files, where Magellan watches the X-Files sometimes, Chatz Nights, where we hang out, Pilot Chats, where we watch pilots, and even Commentary Chats, where we watch movies. And we do little polls every month where we have people vote on what we're going to watch for the month. So if you go over to Patreon and throw us a couple bucks a month, you can, for example... If you donate at $5 a month or more, you get thanked at the end of Chatz, the main feed. Like these people, for example. Thank you to Kat, Marcus, Nick, and Pat of the Brothers at Infinite War, Fendon, Ryan, I think that's the 6, and Stefan. we have a lot of Ryan. We have a lot of Ryans in the community. Anyways. That's what that is. So you should check out the Patreon. Ryan, thank you again for joining us. It was a really great time. Love having you on podcast, and definitely want to have you on again for PeaksChatz and talk more about the show with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Magellan for being the Wyndham Earl to my Dagent Dale Cooper.
Oof. Okay.
I just keep picking random pairings out of a hat. And thank you for listening to PeaksChatz. Damn fine podcast. Hey everybody, this is the Spoiler Zone. If you finished listening to the 30 seconds of fun music, then you have already watched all of Twin Peaks seasons 1 and 2, as well as Fire Walk with Me, or you just don't care about spoilies. Mm-hmm. Ryan, you had a couple of things you wanted to bring up, specifically wanted to reference the moment where Truman gives Cooper the Bookhouse Boys patch.
That whole scene is so sad because he's walking out of the sheriff's office. He's about to leave. He's a normal ass FBI agent. He's like, "Goodbye, everyone. My people need me back at the FBI." Mm-hmm. the one window of time where Dale Cooper's life could be fucking normal, mm-hmm. and it's just robbed immediately.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it like that, but it is basically like you almost got out of this show. And now you're like fully trapped in the vortex of Twin Peaks for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, what is a world where Cooper just got to go fishing and then goes back home and meets someone new? And
that scene played incredibly sad, knowing what was coming.
Mm-hmm. because he goes right from like this investigation into like the end of season 2 being possessed by Bob, and it's like, well, sorry.
Yeah.
Big bummer knowing what's to come. We wanted to ask. Oh, actually, I had one quick question that's kind of hard to Google, Ryan, but I think you would know the answer to it. You know, we talked about how in May the Giant Be With You, the giant like puts an orb inside of Cooper.
Yeah.
What is that? Oh. Shit.
I don't know.
I need all the answers.
I don't
even think that's like that can't be a return thing, because that's not how this show works.
You're just foiled by the last episode where everything had an answer in the most infuriating way.
Yeah, yep.
That gummy lake.
Whoa, the gum.
Oh my god.
It's back in style.
My father killed me. Oh my god. The worst.
And then my big question was Wyndham Earl. So, like, this cartoon guy who...
What do you think of Wyndham Earl?
What's the take, Rye?
Yeah.
I don't remember enough.
Okay.
I know that he kills somebody and puts them in a chess piece at some point.
I think we're having on for that episode, by the way. Is that a spoiler? I'm not supposed to say that?
Well...
That's in season 2.
So, here's the one thing I wanted to... I'll finish my thought. I don't remember a lot. I know there's some bullshit that he does. I genuinely don't remember how he plays. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
He does not matter beyond season 2.
Right.
No.
He extremely does not matter in the lore.
Right.
He might get a name drop in season 3, but I honestly don't remember.
I mean, the stuff with him and like Bob or whatever is kind of cool. Briefly, for like the 5 minutes that him and Bob interact with each other, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing that the actor gets to do is just put on costumes. Because he like comes to Twin Peaks as one guy, and he's like, I'm not that guy.
Oh my god, yeah.
And he like...
Yes. Oh, the costumes. Yeah, I remember
He
that
wears
now.
a bunch of costumes. That's what Wyndham Earl's deal is.
Yeah, and then David Lynch just kills him immediately upon arrival.
Welsh wasn't asked to reprise his role in the 2017 series, but he, quote, would have loved to. Aww.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have.
Sure you would have.
The guy.
That sucks.
The thing I wanted to remind Magellan of.
Yeah, what happened
the
with
dispute between
mayor shit?
He marries a really hot, attractive young woman that everybody fawns over, and she kills them while they're fucking.
Yes! Yes!
God.
Talk about gold.
It literally,
that's actually
they go in a bedroom to have sex, and it cuts to a commercial break. And then when they come back, it's over.
And he's dead.
Like she purposely kills him, or he just has a heart attack because of the hot, good sex?
It's ambiguous. But
okay.
Everybody is standing outside of this woman's bedroom door while they have sex, and then it cuts to commercial break, and then they come back and they're still listening.
Okay.
I hate it.
Okay, Twin Peaks. Okay. That's very good.
Dougie's engaged to be married to a babe.
Anyway, that's the same episode that is going to be on, and when I realized that, I fucking screamed.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Dude, I think we haven't said this to our listeners, but has not seen Twin Peaks, right? Isn't that this thing?
And doesn't plan to watch Twin Peaks, no.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the premise.
We'll reiterate this like a couple weeks from now, but yeah, they have not watched it. They've listened to all of Twin Peaks Rewatch and never watched a single minute of it and don't plan to. So get a load of that when it comes up.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I feel like they should just watch this episode.
I feel like they should watch that episode just in isolation, but we'll talk about it when we get there. Any other big spoiler stuff, Ryan? I know you're the big Fire Walk with Me fan, also.
Yeah, there's stuff I want to say, but I don't know if I want to say it here or
we can just wait
when season 3 happens. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that Cooper absolving Leland of everything is like key to his character, and I think they do stuff with that later.
Oh, good. Okay.
They do.
So I know it's frustrating in the moment, and it feels like the show is saying that because it is. But I think David Lynch and Mark Frost,
they recontextualize it later.
They pick that up and do stuff with it. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Also, we're getting Denise next episode. Oh God. All right. Let's punt it. We'll see everybody on Wednesday. Thank you again, Ryan.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.